I wonder if you heard about First Lady Jill Biden getting a case of the Joes. Yes, that's right. This week, the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, gave a speech to Hispanic voters in Texas and compared them to breakfast tacos.
Diversity of this community, as distinct as the Bogotas of the Bronx, as beautiful as the blossoms of Miami, and as unique as the breakfast tacos here in San Antonio.
Oh boy, yes, Dr. Jill Biden just compared 62 million Hispanic Americans to tacos. And she also showed she could not pronounce the word bodega, but that's another story. As these things go, it was about as off and offensive as when South Park's Eric Cartman's alter ego, J-Lo, declared her love for the delicious dish.
You can ask my special guest, Miss Jennifer Lopez. What? Jennifer Lopez? No way. Miss Lopez, come on out here.
Hello? Oh, Jesus Christ. My name is Jennifer Lopez. I eat tacos y burritos.
And then sang about it.
Burrito, taco, taco, burrito, taco, taco, taco. Don't think just because I got a lot of money, I'll give you taco flavored kisses, honey. Fulfill all your wishes with my taco flavored kisses. Taco, taco, burrito, burrito, taco, taco.
But there were no kisses, taco-flavored or otherwise, for Dr. Jill Biden from the Latino community. Hispanic groups immediately denounced her clueless, offensive speech, which suggested that the First Lady got her knowledge of Latin culture from an old El Paso meal kit. One major group said simply, "We are not tacos." Amazing that she needed to be told. Now, here to join me to talk about this and so much else is Rik Mehta, a former congressional candidate, entrepreneur, and health expert. Rik Mehta, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Now, let's start here. The House of Biden is collapsing before our eyes. We have Joe Biden clearly with some cognitive issues, and now this from Jill Biden. Sorry, I meant to say Dr. Jill Biden. Rik Mehta, what did you make of Taco Jill, and could you imagine if Ivana Trump had done something like this?
Isn't it amazing? I mean, every time I see that video, I can't help but cringe. I mean, Joe Biden literally had her proverbial fall off the bicycle moment. But, you know, honestly, James, I think that's exactly what the Democrats and the Biden family think about minorities in this country. And let me tell you right now, I am not a samosa, and my friends from the Latino community are not tacos. But the fact that they stereotype every single one of us into these outlandish analogies that they themselves would not even want for themselves, it's just so mind-boggling that they continue to get away with it. But I'll tell you right now, they're losing a lot of support from minority Americans, not just conservative minorities, but minorities all across the board.
Well, yeah, no, Rik, you're exactly right. You're not a samosa. I'm not Eggs Benedict. But surely, with these sorts of performances, the Democrats can't let Joe Biden run for another term. I mean, they'd be looking at political suicide, right?
Well, you know, I've seen weirder, stranger things going on. And, you know, the amount of support that his administration continues to give him and push him, I don't know. I would be surprised if they didn't run him again. But the truth is that they don't know what to do. I mean, it is damage control central here. And the amount of gaffes that he had, he's in the Middle East saying that it was great to have the Holocaust. It's amazing that how he can get away with such gaffes time and time again and yet continue to get the kind of support. Really makes you think, what kind of strings are attached to Joe Biden?
Well, yeah, exactly right, Rik. And I mean, I think that, you know, this issue of minority support of the Democrats is a fascinating one. We're going to have a fascinating look at that just after we speak. But also want to go to the issue of abortion and identity politics. And this week we saw a heated clash between a university professor and a U.S. Congressman, Josh Hawley. Have a look at this.
You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women? Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
Well, your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic. Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think men can get
So
pregnant.
you are denying that trans people like this?
Now, Rik, you're a biotech entrepreneur, you're a healthcare policy expert, and also you just have eyes in your head and common sense. What did you make of this, and why did the left wind up taking her side, not his, over what would normally seem like a completely bizarro world exchange?
I mean, again, the narrative is upside down on its head. Let me tell you, as a law professor, again, another cringeworthy moment for me to see a fellow colleague law professor resort to name calling. If you can't have constructive conversations, I mean, on the Senate floor, to have discussions openly without resorting to name calling, right away running, it's almost like it was pretext, it was canned, and it was planned that she was going to come out and somehow get out that she was going to call Senator Hawley transphobic, regardless of what he asked or what he said. And that's what it felt like. But you know what? It's what I call eggshell narratives. Right? If they don't get their way, then they're going to have the American public walking on eggshells. Frankly, I can tell you, James, middle America is sick and tired of it. You know, they don't want to be called names. They want to be able to be free to ask questions, to understand concepts. And, you know, to be put on eggshells time and time again, it's getting tiring. It's exhausting. I tell you, the rest of America is sick and tired of it.
Now, Rik, also on the issue of health and biology, we've had the complex issue of abortion playing out this week. A lot of Democrats wish the White House would go harder, but also the White House is potentially considering declaring access to the procedure a health emergency. How do you see this playing out politically as well as legally?
Well, I think the narrative's being pushed because of politicians. Listen, we have a very important midterm elections in November, and the Democrats need something to fire up the base. The truth is the Dobbs decision, which everyone's familiar with, which overturned Roe v. Wade, really what it said was that there is no U.S. constitutional right to an abortion, and it left quiet state rights. In fact, if anything, it said states have the right through their elected representatives to declare abortion legality. So, you know, you would think that those that are pro-choice activists, abortion activists, would go into each state Senate floor in all 50 states advocating for the right to have an abortion. Instead, they're making it a national issue. Simply, it boils down to one reason. In my opinion, it's because they're afraid that they're going to lose control of the House and lose control over the Senate. And so what they're doing is the left is forcing Biden to declare, which would be completely unprecedented, a federal public health emergency to allow for abortion access, basically arrogating control from the state power and centralizing power into the federal government, again, against the Supreme Court decision, putting into the hands of unelected bureaucrats to do as they please to allow for nationalization of abortion, not through the legislative process. It's pretty scary, but again, it's the Biden administration continuing to pander to the left's narrative. And you saw that today with Senator Cory Booker and so many others pushing for the federalization of a public health emergency.
Rik Mehta, thank you so much. That's all the time we've got for. Hope you'll join us again on the U.S. Report.